What's down, people, and welcome back to another episode of Ghetto Gospel. So where we left off at, Noah and his fam finally touched down on dry ground. The first thing Noah did was throw something on the grill for God. God promised he wasn't going to flood the whole earth again, and the noticeable lack of people around was a pretty good sign that God be about keeping his promises. So on to chapter 9. So the first thing it say is, God blessed Noah and his sons. And that word they used for blessed is interesting because in Hebrew, y'all know I normally don't get into word pronunciation, but trust me, it's relevant. That word blessing is barak. If it sounds familiar, that's not a coincidence. Different variations on that word is used in Hebrew, Arabic, and a bunch of different countries all throughout Africa. I bet you wondering how African countries started using the Hebrew word. You will get a hint once we start talking about Hebrew kings, but you don't get nothing close to a full explanation until after Jesus show up. And even that one leave you with some dots to connect. We'll come back to that in later episodes. Back to Noah and them. God tell them to be blessed and fill the earth and multiply and all that. Obviously, more people got to come from somewhere. And then he say that all the living creatures on earth, in the sky, and in the ocean gonna be scared of man, and that he put them under our authority. I'm guessing that includes snakes too. And then he gave the greatest gift a meat lover could ever ask for. He gave us the green light to start eating every creature on the planet, just like he said for the plants in the garden. The only rule was not to eat no meat bloody. It ain't my rule, I'm just sticking to it. Now I was about to keep pushing to that part about a life for a life. I know a lot of folks like verses like that, but it's an important principle in this whole part about not eating the blood in the animal. This is the first verse in the Bible that mentioned eating blood, but it's absolutely not the last. For all of the man, why folks out there, later on in the book, God actually tell us why he don't want us eating blood. And no, he ain't hating on how you like your steak cooked. Later on in Leviticus, that's the book with all the rules and regulations about how they supposed to live and what they can and can't eat. God say that he don't want folks eating the blood because the creature's life is in the blood. And that whole idea keep getting developed throughout the book until it all get tied together when Jesus show up. But we got buku more episodes before we get there. So the next thing God talk about is murder. I imagine that since things didn't go so well the last time there was this few people on earth, he decided to let everybody know up front what it was gonna be if folks started murdering each other. And what he said was that anytime human blood gets shed, whether that blood gets shed by man or animal, he wanna see blood for blood. And one of the things you miss in English is that whole idea of life being in the blood. And that's not just life like breathing in and breathing out. In Hebrew, the idea of life include everything about a person. The personality, the desires, the mindset, the appetites. In Hebrew, life refers to everything that makes you, you. And when you think about it like that, that explains a whole lot about why God cares so much about us not eating meat with the blood in it and why he got such a problem with people shedding each other's blood. And then if that wasn't enough, he take it a step further when he say that the reason it's blood for blood is because man is made in the image of God. And that's all they really say about that. All I could really get from that verse is that because man is made in the image of God, the sentence for murder is execution. It's super tempting to try to assume what that means. But you know the old saying about assumptions. So after that, God tell them that they need to get out here and start making babies. Which, I mean, who don't like making babies? So I'm gonna wrap this episode up at verse 7, because the rest of the chapter is gonna get into some stuff that's gonna take at least a whole episode to really get hashed out. Y'all gonna ride with me, right? Other than that, I'll see y'all next week. And as always, peace, and I hope y'all people straight.